Hello, Luminary. Welcome back to another Sunday episode where we talk about the astrology of the week. So I hope you got a little bit of rest last week because the shakeups and the awakenings and the revolutions continue to happen this week with our lunar eclipse. So tune in. Welcome to the Savvy Luminary podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astrograd method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. Hello, Luminary. Welcome back to the November 14th through the 20th Business Starcast. I'm recording this a little bit earlier than the day before because I have a lot of things going on. I have not been taking my own medicine for that astrology of last week with the Mercury and Mars squaring off with Saturn and then opposing Uranus and just like all kinds of things just going on last week. And I have heard from all of the luminaries in my free Facebook group that, this pendulum swinging wide between energy and activation and just like wanting to go kickboxing and just like doing all the things and then just like crashing and burning and like needing to take naps and rest, or your body just caving in and just saying, nope, we're going to make you rest because you're not resting. So here is a nice little fall, winter cold for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. So wherever you are on that spectrum, I'm here with you. I know personally for me, just that past week, as I'm trying to balance all of those energies between high activation and low energy, I'm just taking on more than I can chew with both my music career, because I think you all know that I'm a professional musician. I had an amazing gig with my quintet, and then I decided to take a chamber opera gig about Harriet Tubman as a little girl in the historic Bayview Opera House in a historically Black community in San Francisco. And I just couldn't pass up on the opportunity because the mission of that piece really was aligned with my mission to bring more diversity and inclusion into classical music. Yet, on top of my already busy schedule, I don't know, I haven't been taking my own medicine. So if you haven't been taking my medicine either, I don't blame you. Well, anyway, before we dive into the astrology of the week, we have Uranus being lit up by our personal planets in the mundane astrology, meaning the cosmic weather that I'm sharing with you, these collective transits that are happening. And we have our lunar eclipse in Taurus, shaking things up even more. Think of it like as another wild card. So this coming week is going to be prepare your mind, body, heart, soul for the unexpected. It's going to be fantastic if you can focus on the energy of excitement and that woohoo-ness of the unknown and all the possibilities, instead of like living in fear or the, oh my gosh, what's happening, of that kind of lower vibration of what can happen when we're going through a revolution. Now, one other thing that I wanted to let you know, that the episode that's going to be dropping on Wednesday, November 17th, I'm going to be joined by Celeste Brooks, the amazing astrologer. She's on the other side of the bay from me in Oakland, and we got to finally meet on a Zoom chat the other day, and she was sharing her perspective on the moon. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have to come in and do a podcast episode. And you know how impulsive I am and how quick on the feet, just making things happen. So Celeste decided, thankfully, to join me on Wednesday, where we're going to be doing a deep dive on the full moon eclipse that's happening in Taurus that is kicking off our eclipse season. So we're going to be talking all about that. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday for Celeste Brooks and me talking about the Taurus full moon eclipse that's happening on Friday the 19th. In this episode, I'll be sharing my perspective on it, but we'll be doing a deep dive on Wednesday. One of the great great things that happened from all of the rush of last week, all of on the highs of the energy. Oh my gosh, I have managed to rewrite a ton of my website. I'm so excited. I was able to put structure to the things that I wanted to offer at the end of the year, which is always, for an astrologer, a very crazy time of the year as we are preparing everything for 2022. So super excited. I don't have anything online officially yet. You are the first to know, Luminary. I want you to mark your calendar for December 3rd. December 3rd, for those of us in the later time zones on planet Earth, is going to be our new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, right? We talked about that eclipse season. So new moon solar eclipse on December 3rd, I'm going to be hosting a beautiful new moon ceremony. It actually is threefold here. So December 3rd, you are all invited. It's going to be completely free. I'm going to be hosting a new moon ceremony. We're going to be celebrating my book's star-powered brand first birthday, its first solar return. And I'll be sharing all of the highlights for what's in store for 2022. So 2022 in the stars is here. So please join me on December 3rd. It's going to be at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Reserve that, just pencil that in your calendar right now. I don't have any sign-up links for that, but you are invited. It's completely free. Again, we'll be celebrating my book birthday. We'll be doing a new moon ceremony all together, and I will be sharing what's those big events that are in store for you in 2022 so that you can decide to work with the stars in your business. All right. That's all the announcements. So let's get into the astrology for entrepreneurs the week of November 14th through the 20th. This week, our quote comes from Joseph Campbell of The Hero's Journey. Oh my gosh, Joseph Campbell has written so many influential books and philosophy that I really take to heart. I love his work in terms of just how it works from we can see our lives and how we work from this archetypal level. He's just an absolute prolific author who wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, The Power of Myth, The Hero's Journey. I mean, all of the epic whys, how he's able to just kind of categorize them and explain them, which gives so much meaning to astrology. I wonder, I don't actually even know this. I need to go look this up. I wonder if Joseph Campbell was also into astrology. It would not surprise me. But the quote for this week that's going to be kind of our centering thought comes from him. Revolution doesn't have to do with smashing something. It has to do with bringing something forth. If you spend all your time thinking about that which you are attacking, then you are negatively bound to it. You have to find the zeal in yourself and bring that out. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Joseph Campbell, for reminding us, because this week really is continuing on that path of revolution with all of the personal planets really activating Uranus this week. Mercury, Venus, and Mars, all, pinging Uranus and saying, hey, it's time to shake things up in people's lives. Yes. And then, of course, we have that full moon eclipse. What we need to remember about revolutions is that sometimes a revolution isn't about necessarily creating something that we've never seen before, although sometimes that can happen. Sometimes a revolution can come simply coming back to traditions or processes or things in our lives that we have since forgotten that we need to reawaken. That's when we think about all of the Saturn returns or solar returns that happen once. Solar returns happen once a year, Saturn returns every 28 years. We're looking at the revolution of that planet around the sun to return to that point in your chart where it was when you were first born, showing us that revolution, that pattern, that cycle that you have completed, where now we have to take it up that next level. Hopefully, we're always lifting and rising up and evolving in that way. So in this week, really notice what revelations you're having and be free and rejoice in those revelations. Remember the woohoo, not the whoa. Let them create a firm resolve for where you'll take action in your business and your life. Because, those two things, business and life, they're, for us entrepreneurs, they are really one and the same. The more empowered we feel in our business, the more empowered we feel in our life, the more empowered we feel in our life, the more empowered we feel in our business. They go hand in hand. You can't separate them. So the theme of this week leading up to our eclipse, our Taurus full moon eclipse, is being committed to the excitement about your life constantly and never giving up on that sense of excitement. If you rejoice, you seize the revelations in your revolutions. Remember to look to where you feel excited this week. Keep your energy on the positive, bright side. Don't spiritual bypass, okay? Like if you really have some things that are really weighing you down, get curious with it. Understand what that is trying to teach you and what responsibility that you have to try to work through it. And it's okay. It's actually empowering and strong to get help if you need it. It's going to be the fuel that keeps you going as you go into one of the biggest weeks of the year, just an extension of last week, Luminary. All right, so let's dive in. On the 15th, that is Monday, we have Sun squaring off with Jupiter. This happens at exactly 11:58 a.m. Pacific, 2:58 p.m. Eastern, where the theme with Sun and Jupiter is abundant creative tension leads to vision. What will you maximize today? For a few days leading up to and away from this exact meeting point, your focused zone of genius work will be maximized and amplified. You know what you do so well, so don't bog yourself down with the things that you can delegate to those better suited. Get creating and notice your work expand. This will be especially revealing for our fixed sign luminaries, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. I know all of us fixity sign people, whether it's your rising, your sun, or your moon, if you have fixed signs in those, I know over the last couple of weeks, it's been a very big pendulum swing of tons of energy and tons of exhaustion, tons of energy and tons of exhaustion. So a little bit more for you. Sun will be at Scorpio of 23 degrees, trining Jupiter at Aquarius of 23 degrees. On the 17th, midweek on Wednesday, we have Mars opposing Uranus retrograde in the sky. So last week we had Mercury opposing Uranus, and Mercury and Mars met up. With Mercury and Mars coming together, this is really giving voice to your activism and not being able to really being able to speak up to the things that are important to you that you need to prioritize and motivate through. So Mercury opposed Uranus last week. So, you might have had some realizations and some shakeups in your perception. Now Mars will be opposing Uranus this week, where that energy can feel a little bit explosive. So how do we tame that and how do we reframe it so it's actually constructive? That's what ultimately we're doing with this astrology and how I teach astrology is how can we make these what we judge as challenging, how can we make them constructive in our lives so that we learn and we continue to evolve in the right way? So Mars opposing Uranus face off at exactly 9:23 a.m. Pacific, 12:23 p.m. Eastern on that Wednesday, November 17th, where the theme with Mars opposite Uranus, how I am reframing it, strong-willed need to be free. What will you do with all this impulsive activity? Phew, I'm super curious what happens on the global stage with this energy. This energy has been building all month. You may have wavered between anxiety and excitement, frustration and action, fear and eagerness. You are being called to cut through, to equalize this energy into aligned, constructive action. Part of your aligned action is the desire to be free to do what you want to do, what motivates you and your priorities. When you can turn your whoa nellies into woohoo, give me more, your actions can take on quantum leaps in your business. That's what Uranus does. It awakens and quantum leaps you to the places that you really want to be when your mindset and heart set is where it needs to be. This is especially invigorating for fixed signs. Yep, still on the fixity energy: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Mars will be at Scorpio of 12 degrees, opposite Uranus retrograde, hanging out at Taurus of 12 degrees. The next day on the 18th, we have a lot of Venus coming through, a lot of Uranus coming through with a little bit of Mercury. So it's kind of a big day. So Venus is activated really on this 18th because we have a few exact meetups with her. Her beauty and grace allows for a wonderful day to work on your aesthetic, maybe new clothes for a brand shoot, or selecting photos for your visual brand. With regards to money, you may have some pleasant surprises. I'm in for that. So today, Venus enters the shadow zone for our upcoming retrograde that happens towards the end of the year. That's why Venus will be in our Capricorn sign for so long. So after she enters the shadow zone, then she is going to align with Uranus, the awakener that we've been talking about, manifesting worthy surprises. And in the mix, Mercury, Neptune flow, giving us pleasant, if not super clear feelings and insight. So on this day, on Wednesday, it is the day to ask yourself, what do you find pleasing about yourself? You got to really feel into this because this is really a feeling. It's not some destination like the system and the media will want to tell you, okay? Feeling into yourself is something your intuition can lead you to. And remember, your intuition isn't just about insights to take action on, it's also about getting clear on yourself. With Uranus and with the flow of Mercury and Neptune, Venus helps us with communicating through aesthetic, through beauty, through peace, through union. And when we do it in our unique, rebellious, and dreamy way that works for us, what is possible? So let's first talk about that Venus entering the shadow zone. So now that Venus will be entering the shadow zone officially on Wednesday, notice your co-creative projects and priorities. What insights on revaluing are you now becoming aware of? So as we enter the Venus retrograde cycle, Venus is still going forward, but it's entered that shadow zone. While Venus won't reverse for another month, as she enters that shadow zone, she crosses that Capricorn of 11-degree threshold, because this is that area of the ecliptic in your chart where she's going to pass through 3 times. First, going forward, as she is now, going through the shadow zone the first time. Then she's going to go backwards, hitting that Capricorn 11-degree point, and then she's going to change direction and go forward again. So at that third time, when she moves forward again. Now, we get Venus retrogrades about once every 19 months or so, and the last time we hit this style of reversal was back in mid-2020, in May through July. Now, as a personal planet, the personal planets are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. We intimately feel this. So kind of similar to Mercury retrograde, her effects, but Mercury is about perception and communications and technology and understanding. So hopefully with Venus is more about values and worth and relationships. So not like not like a Mercury retrograde, will have thankfully less glitches. So Venus retrograde, as we get prepared for that in later December, Venus asks us to realign our values and connections and our money. In Capricorn, she'll make us go back and look at the values and the people and the resources we need to build out our goals. We're going to be able to reflect and then go forth. So in this first pass through, in this one part of the chart, I want you to start noticing what needs to be rebuilt in terms of your values, which your values in your business extend not only what you personally value and what you're going to invest in yourself, but how you add value to your communities, how you contribute, what you contribute, and your connections, even though you just spent a lot of time rethinking your soul customers and collaborators with this last Mercury retrograde in Libra. See how there's this kind of this ripple effect. We're not done yet thinking about this. And of course, your money situation, with this eclipse this time, you're going to have some real realizations and illuminations where you maybe have been blocking yourself from your ability to value yourself and find your self-worth to enable you to bring in the money that you rightfully deserve. So during this time, the reflection period is going to be going till mid-December. It's going to foreshadow what needs to be reconsidered when Venus finally goes retrograde. So I want you to take a look at your chart that contains Capricorn of 11 degrees to Capricorn of 26 degrees, because it is this 15-degree area in your chart that Venus will be highlighting in your life and your business. Now, if you have natal planets or angles in this area of your chart, they're going to chime in to express their worth. Now, if you don't know exactly where Capricorn of 11 to Capricorn of 26 degrees, and you're just like, Leslie, what the heck are you talking about? Remember, I have a low-cost training written in the stars, how to read your natal chart for business, that will show you how to discover that area of your chart between Capricorn of 11 degrees and 26 degrees. It'll show you which house contains that area, your angles, and your planets. For now, just notice there isn't anything you need to do. There are just things to take note and enjoy. If you're interested in this low-cost training, head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/written in the stars, all one word. So Venus will go retrograde on December 19th, and it'll move direct on January 29th, 2022. So right now, entering the shadow zone. Later on the morning, Mercury will be trining Neptune. This happens at 7:38 p.m. Pacific, 10:38 a.m. Eastern. On this same day, on Thursday, the 18th, we have Mercury trining Neptune, where the theme with Mercury and Neptune, listen and speak through your intuition. How can you channel your soul's wisdom and voice? Channeling your spirit guides, automatic writing, free writing, chanting, music making, meditation. What can you do to tap into your subconscious or spirit, your highest self? On a day like today, your intuition is on point, even if you don't think you're very intuitive. There is a message of wisdom wanting to come through if you take the time to get into a flow state and let it in. Your business is a spiritual journey, so use your spiritual tools to hear the guidance coming to you now as you embark on it. This will be especially intuitive for water signs: Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Mercury at Scorpio of 20 degrees, trining Neptune retrograde at Pisces of 20 degrees. Later on that evening, Venus will now be trining with Uranus retrograde. This happens at 10:08 p.m. Pacific, 1:08 a.m. the next morning Eastern, where we have beautiful surprise manifestations. What unexpected gains are you receiving? Windfalls, abundance, connection. It's not yet clear how this will manifest, but something unexpected is now here. This could be the right resources to invest in your next goal, or the right relationships connecting you to those you need in your business. This likely will be a surprise or even a silver lining from an event that at first seemed like a nuisance. Be open to receiving. This will be especially potent for our earth sign luminaries, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, because Venus is at Capricorn of 12 degrees, trining Uranus retrograde at Taurus of 12 degrees. And the big event that we've all been waiting for, the full moon lunar eclipse at Taurus of 27 degrees that happens on Friday the 19th. This happens at exactly 12:57 a.m. Pacific, 3:57 a.m. Eastern, where money revelations and revolutions. So remember, on Wednesday, I'm going to be dropping a full episode dedicated to this beautiful wildcard lunar eclipse in Taurus. Celeste Brooks will be joining me to talk all about this eclipse. So an eclipse, It's a wild card cast for you in the stars. It's time to let go what prevents you from feeling loved, valuable, or worthy. And it's time to celebrate all the ways that you've created value in your life and business. At the root of being able to be profitable in your business is your ability to recognize your value and your worth. Not just recognize it at an intellectual level, but to embody that recognition, to feel it. Today, because it's Eclipse Day, you are handed a wild card for creating your future. When you draw a wild card, it can have any value or property you give it, and you, as the holder, will influence that wild card. Although the qualities of it can feel maybe uncertain at the time. The wild card stays active over the next 6 months at the degree of that full moon. That's at Taurus of 27 degrees. Take note of which house in your chart contains that degree, as it will be a sensitive point over the next 6 months. Whew, for me, my natal Taurus, right there. Ooh, that's going to be exciting. This eclipse wants you to leap into trusting your heart and fall away from the lie that you always have to be giving and doing to being worthy. The system has totally has totally just like put the wool over our heads, because there's just we if we don't have anything left to give, how can we continue to give, right? So in fact, this eclipse wants you to use your intuition more, right? You sense a theme in this November, your intuition to receive. Receiving is the ability to be open, okay? It's like, it's not just about taking, it's about receiving, being open. When you're able to receive all of the love and abundance you deserve, that is the revolution of worthiness. Oh my gosh, I'm going to repeat that. When you are able to receive all of the love and abundance you deserve, that is the revolution of worthiness. When you're able to give from your emotions and your intuition because you have a great relationship with receiving, you have done your part. Often we're coming from this place of overgiving where we don't have anything left in our cup to give from. That's when you're not doing your part. That's when you're doing too much. This is a powerful eclipse being maximized by Jupiter. Whatever you're feeling will only be amplified by Jupiter, okay? So fill your heart with gratitude for all that you have so you can lift your energy. If you sense fear, anger, or distrust, Jupiter will amplify that just as easily. On the same path with Jupiter, you have to resolve the way you've been growing or spending money. If you've been overspending, I'm raising my hand here, without a plan for returns. Well, I kind of have a plan for returns. Or if you've been too scared to invest in yourself, causing your business to keep small, Jupiter has a way of maximizing this inertia. Get clear on how you have to resolve to change your ways over the next 6 months. Remember, choose your energy wisely. The energy of this lunar eclipse at Taurus of 27 degrees will be active over the next 6 months. On Wednesday's episode, I'll be sharing the different activations for the different rising signs. And of course, I'll be sharing that on social media. So be on the lookout for that. On the 20th, a very last day on Saturday, we have Mercury squaring off with Jupiter. This happens at 3:43 p.m. Pacific, 6:43 p.m. Eastern, where we have a quick burst of chattiness. With whom will you share your insights? I love Mercury and Jupiter because Mercury is really like your messaging and your understanding in the here and now. And then Jupiter likes to think of like the big message, your big philosophy. And so when these two square off, you really get to like see if all your dots are being connected, if there is cohesion. So with whom will you share your insights? Maybe you can chat things through. For a brief day leading up to and away, your mind is quick and chatty. You have to talk to someone, even if it's an imaginary conversation from your highest self to yourself. Use this time to jot down all your ideas for social posts, emails, and other content. The ideas and ideals you have coming to you now come straight from your soul. Mercury will be at Scorpio of 24 degrees, squaring Jupiter at Aquarius of 24 degrees. Oh my goodness, holy smokes. I just realized that I have my Jupiter return. I guess that's a lucky thing on that same day. My natal Jupiter is at Aquarius of 24 degrees. So we'll see how that is building for me. I'm super excited. We get a Jupiter return every 12 years. And generally, it is a place of abundance and high spirituality and high philosophy. I think those things apply to me. So especially supportive for air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. All right, luminaries, I know that was a lot this week, so we have a lot to look forward to. Remember, keep your energy high and expect the unexpected and just have fun with it, okay? Wednesday, we have Celeste joining in, and please mark your calendar for December 3rd for a special new moon ceremony, eclipse, book birthday celebration, and of course, 2022 in the stars, where I'll be sharing all of the highlights, all of the things that are coming up in 2022. Super, super excited. All right, Luminary, I will talk to you soon. If you love this podcast, please consider doing me a favor and heading over to Apple iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Your rating and review helps this humble podcast get seen and found by more listeners like you. Please share the love.